What is your favorite subject or theme to explore in your art?
No, I just told you, it is when every moment or the practice you do in your studio or anything. So main idea is I said that's about witnessing the time, the time I live, the time we are spending having this conversation. These are important. This time of exchanging these ideas. It is about looking about our own consciousness. That's the way we are transforming ourselves, witnessing our own transformations, understanding life through the material or the image or the drawing. There is so much of fragility in our life, so much poetry in our life, same time so much contrast in our life, so much dark side of our life. All that exists side by side. So wherever you focus, that they all appear around it. So this actually in that context, you see the subject became intuitive, built up. Anything, everything can be my inspiration of art.
Okay, interesting. Is there something like a specific theme that you haven't yet explored in your art, but want to at a later stage? Like something you'd like to go into?
Yes, because I was just exploring some concept of making some kind of a wall piece that is evolving, but you have to come another day to see it.
Yeah, done. And episode 2. What challenges do you face as an artist in the current Indian art scene?
See, every artwork a challenge, and every thinking process a challenge, and to translate it to art. But if you have for artists, entering into the unknown is always a celebration and the challenge. Depending on what time you are entering into this unknown, it's depending on your state of mind and what kind of influences are there. So if you enter, that becomes something going to appear through your work, something you not expected to happen. That's always been celebrated through it. I say, wow. And sometimes the artwork became bigger than the artist. That's why I keep telling that the art practice for me as well, I can tell the other artists, it's a three conversation, three components having this conversation. One is kind of your space and yourself and the someone else. Because when the canvas face have something to tell you and you also say something, and there's someone also guiding you, or the unknown force. This conversation creates the new stories. Okay. This when the conversation ends, the stories disappear and what remains is the image. And then it's okay, where some you can logically prove it. Okay, this is what this here and there. But a lot of things are not logical. If you ask me what is this, maybe I don't know. Thus, I don't know aspect of it should be remain with the artist. And where we talk about ideas of I know, then everything is kind of like a black close.
Perfect, yeah.
So the best way to remain open and keep your journey.
In contemporary Indian art, is there any trait you particularly dislike?
See, my understanding of art, if art should be talk about something human spirit, should be reflect through it, through the object or the image. So if there's a human spirit, some way resonant, some that energy is reflecting through it, then I connect. The connection built off. That's what I looked at it. For me, everything, there's no good or bad art for me. So it's about the connection. You build a connection, then it's always remain in your head. I was referring to the Onkawara date painting and talking about the time. And there's interesting installations. Every time is like is going back, and then taking you to some unknown space of time. So it's so interesting. Some artists, they connect you in that very seriously. And you can't even express those kind of experience because I don't look at, black and white.
Yeah.
Evil is an outside looking at it. These are the people back.
It's all a mix.
And these are the good people. This ideology is good, that ideology is bad. So I don't look at it in a very journalistic way of putting things.
That's good.
I keep looking at everything is here. Good, evil, and the non-evil, everything come out. That's why I was talking about where there's the essence of a joy process of making that makes you a joy. Whether you are full of joy in the process that makes you to do, to achieve that joyness. That's what I want to achieve. Sometimes that is struggle. Sometimes you can't define that moment.
So it's about that human connection with the work, and it's about really finding yourself inside the painting as well. Yeah.
Right. And the joyness, if you are making something that you will achieve joy, then your ideas of going process is very mechanical somewhere. But the process should be anything.
Yeah.
Anything you do. The art is maybe on a process. Anything. Either you cleaning your house or decorating your space.
That's all art.
Everything that creative is, you can get at least through that process to some.
How do you navigate the role between art and politics? Does it factor any role into your art?
What is the ideas of politics? Politics about governing the mass, because there's somebody to give a direct. But the thing is that you have to understand the politics for certain societies of certain people's gain. It's not a great politics. It has to lead to somewhere else. You see the war happens, or it is all coming out of our sense of the ego or a sense of a supremacy. But when you start connecting the world, everyone is connected to each other, because it is not all the body, it is the vibration that happen. Like, let's say in the Gaza war, or or any problem happening, any part of our world, it is affecting us. But either you physically sense it or not sense it, it is there. If there is a pain anywhere of the earth, definitely that pain going to resonate, and that echoes its managing. But we continuously producing the sense of vibration everywhere. The physicals are very limited sense of a thing. So the politics for me, is understanding larger human consciousness to its purpose of living, not into my subject.
And how do you feel your art walks that bridge?
I can't define it, but that's why I told you the politics, the way we have to see how we all govern. But is the governments in not one entity or the one person. It is about the larger consciousness that governed by we. If it is either we are going against it or we going for it. Like, let's say, are you swimming through the river flow, or you going anti? So if you're flowing with, then sometimes you feel like you're not even putting your energy or effort, you're passing to one place to B place, A to B. But sometimes if you're anti-current, you have to struggle. There's that struggles, what we all face.
It's much easier flowing with the current and going in the same direction everybody else is than actually going against it and breaking out of that. Yeah. What is the most challenging part of your creative process?
Every artwork is a challenge, and every artwork, because my problem is you see single artwork, they look some in mine, there's this essence, but they're very different. There's no repetitive of one ideas to many. So then everything I try to say, bringing something of myself or unknown self of mine, it sometimes is challenging to achieve. That's why I told you this ideas of disconnection happened through that painting I did in 2000, still is lying. I'm not able to, because that moment is past, that whole darkness. If I invited that time, I have to go back to that particular time, the darkness of the time that we all suffered.
How do you know when a piece is finished? Like, you could be on the cusp of it, you could be finishing it, and obviously it would still look great otherwise.
Exactly. This is a brilliant question. That's what I want to do. Look at my work. It's open-ended, all artwork. Recently, I finished a very large artwork. It's a cover cross painting. That work is started in 2008 or 9. And also I did a different time. In 2020 also, I reworked on it. So every time I come back to the work, I can re-engage. But because the work always invite me. When I will start, there's so much energy always accumulate. It's pull you down that's to do something.
Okay.
And it has a quality of work. And then because it doesn't have any mechanical engagement or like a beauty or some kind of structure to it, it has some kind of energy that pull you to rework it.
Can you wear different lens entirely?
If it is gone out of my studio, it is okay. It is somewhere. But if it is there, I'm re-looking at it and rediscovering. So sometimes artwork, just inviting me to respond again.
Do you ever see your works like outside in exhibitions and all, and think to yourself, how could I have realized then at that moment that it was incomplete? And like, do you ever just want to go and add more layers?
So once it is in the gallery space, it is gone out of my studio. Has its own energy. Whatever around the studio is, everything is moving. Everything is something changes are happening. There's so much another space. When I go home, that's another kind of space. In the gallery, I enjoy celebrating my work.
Yeah.
I say, wow. And then logically, I start building story around it. Oh, am I thinking like this way?
Yeah.
Then I'm having conversation. My story is building around. Sometimes my narratives are become wider. That's what
After the thing.
After looking at in a studio, because the light are there, space are there, and they're all, it's in a different time zone. Only this happened in studio.
You know what's really interesting to me? You mentioned one of your works is from 2008, which is when I was born. What's the longest you spent on a single work?
I told you that's the work I have started in 2008, and then I reworked on 2020. And recently, that work is acquired by KNMA. Okay, so that's very large work. But the longest work doesn't mean that keep working or something. But some way, it's depend how much work demanding. I want deliberately some work not to be extremely need to be busy. I just wanted to confuse this, the viewer to see, not say, like kind of thing. Something to rediscover or discover. So then you keep working. In the last solo exhibition I did, that is all about overworking on the surface. A surface means so much to discover. Maybe you can deconstruct the work, unlimited artwork. If you look at this unfathomed world, you look at each part of work and each a separate artwork. There's many artwork became one artwork.
What's been the most difficult work to produce then?
See, difficult not in terms of skill. Difficult is what happened to me as an artist, my engagement with the work. It is sometimes a non-translated conversation happened. Okay, this conversation, if carry, I keep enjoying. Every time I go back home, I feel so happy, something happening. But if that conversation in between cut or something, this conversation detached, and still I have to work, or something happened, that became a more challenge. And then sometimes what happened, it's very sensitive time. And you don't know that the conversation even sometimes is gone missing. And then your work leading somewhere else. And then became a struggle start. Then you have to stop, re-look at it, or maybe you come revisit again. That is what happened in my studio.
So to you, art is a conversation with a canvas. And
yeah, I told you, three times come.
Yeah.
See, either you see, one of my teacher told me, like, Jagannath, remember, your hand, your hat, or your head. This got a nice, interesting conversation with the material. Okay. This conversation produced something to happen, right? But here I was telling you another conversation. Your space, either your material if you are working, or your canvas space, or yourself, and there's someone else, unknown self. This conversation happened, this three-way dialogue. And because sometimes you put something, I don't know, canvas also telling me something. You don't listen to the canvas also, because then you are putting all your egos into your ego and work to do something, because you have a very fixed ideas about something.
But you need to be more open.
You need to be open, because that ideas you were thinking, it may be logical, it may be not logical. It is maybe intuitive, it may be it's talk about substance, it may be talk about spirit. You don't know.
Yeah.
And It talk about material, non-material, independent.
I was going to ask you, do you prefer art with a strong narrative or open to interpretation? But I think we've realized that open to interpretation is the way to go.
Exactly.
Yeah. What quality in your own works do you value the most? Like, what do you look at and be like, wow, I did that?
So if it is transgress me as an understanding about me, because when you understanding, you have a endless potential of yourself, then that's the celebration moment. And that only you can achieve through your work. And sometimes you achieve, it is a glimpse of celebrations, unknown self to known through something.
Yeah.
Through very tangible way.
Nice.
No, interesting.
Yeah, quite.
Sometimes you look at some artist's work, that you don't know, you can logically prove it or why you are liking, but you're still liking it. Something is there.
Yeah, something that draws you in art. As you talk about, that is the connection, the human connection with art that's forged.
Exactly. That's what I told you. My liking with other artists' work, when they carry the something essence of human spirit.
I'd like to add something to that. You talk about your conversations with the canvas passes those messages on to the viewer.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a two-way street.
Yes.
So, Mr. Panda, how do you see your work contributing to the wider, historical narrative of Indian art as a whole?
See, that aspect the critic will define, depend on how the critics understanding my process or looking at my work in a particular context. Because every artwork need to be, is seen through particular dimension or particular perspective. Okay, when they looked at in a particular perspective, sometimes they look endless meaningful, sometimes meaningless.
Yeah.
So depend on who's interpreting, what they're responding, and how they trusting me and valuing me. In that defines and it's not me because my part is over when this work is, my conversation is over. And I have not a very, I expect people to celebrate through it. That is what, if I enjoyed, other people should enjoy that the way I enjoy making it. That is what I make expectation.
And do the opinions of the critics and the people towards your art align with yours?
It depends. So sometimes they transgress, they uplift my thought process. And that's why I see the potential of, depend on if somebody might be read so much historical reference or the books or other narratives they can bring into my work until Jagannath, this is what I really enjoyed your work. So it's also adding my understanding. Yes. It's transforming my thought process. I enjoy that. That way, I want your opinion about my work.
That's great. So what advice would you give to younger, more emerging artists who want to be as successful as you?
Every art student, they go through a certain kind of training or process of making art as a, ideal way of art making. Depend how much wider understanding they're bringing to their life, their journey. They should enjoy their journey and go to open mind. And that's what I enjoyed my own journey. I feel like that is what they should celebrate, because the problem is what happened. Nowadays, there's so much bombarded of the information and images through internet and all that. It's kind of over information. We don't need it. I think I'm also victim. There's many people are victim of the time. And that also sometimes forget that oneself or our own real potential that can reflect.
Return.
When sometimes they don't reflect through it, they try to pick up different narrative to express, So self-discovery is only way to celebrate artist journey.
So it's a journey within that's as important as a journey.
Exactly.
So what's the best advice? I'm flipping the question. What's the best advice you've ever received regarding the art world?
That's why I told you. My teacher told me that this conversation, because when we work, sometimes we forget ourselves, what we're doing. Time is kind of transgress. I'm doing sometimes painting or my food time. I'm hungry. I forget that I became a part of the work and then I became somewhere else. See, this ideas of process is important. That's what my teacher told me, your hand, your heart and a heart. head and heart.
Yeah.
This beautiful conversation, this need to be you need a skill, you need to have a logical mind, and you should have a very open-hearted person that to accept that's happening, and not like a very, very close way understanding of the politics of the world. Because we continue shaped by this information world shaping our life. We don't know what truth or non-truth are.
Yeah. So the same message you get is the message you pass on as well.
Yes, that is, I think that became a little, because I'm referring this because of it has a timelessness. It is applicable today, tomorrow, and it, also yesterday.
Today, tomorrow, yesterday, what legacy do you want to leave behind with your art?
I never thought about the ideas of legacy, but whatever I feel to do with, one way I keep doing my work. Second, I run a small foundation so that give me like another way of enjoying interacting with different artists, collaborating with them, enjoy with them their process. So I have a sense of space that I've created. I have a brilliant family. My wife is very supported. This is what the blessing you need from the God or whoever you believe. So if that things are okay, then you don't know what you achieve or what legacy you left to. You keep doing your journey, but wherever you are, whatever you do, you keep marching.
Like you don't stop. Keep it open.
Yes.
Don't leave a fix in.
Yes, don't stop and throw your heart or your mind or your hand. Just keep, and every moment are going to be inspiring for you. And the legacy, always other people's, how they see and interpret my journey, they will define yesterday, or you will define.
More about yesterday. If you could live and work in any artistic period, which one would it be? Anywhere in the world, anytime, which one would it be and where?
So as we have a conversation, then I told you that I was referring to this conceptual artist called Onkawara. Again, I'm going back to the time, because it is interesting, because his ideas of time, it's time itself is a metaphor. We all shaped by our ancestor, that something happened yesterday, that's why we are here. And our thinking process here, that somebody has guided or somebody has motivated to make us our decisions. So it is not that one particular moment I could say it's influenced, but anything it inspired or influenced you. But I can't remember now. It is in my subconscious mind.
So what would you say to the man you were talking about, the influence, if you ever met him, like conversationally?
Influence on what?
Like on you and your art as a whole.
I can see the people, sometimes young artists, they inspire from my artwork, or they feel like there's something to see and do. But whenever the young artists, they come and talk to me, whatever I know, I explain and experience. Maybe this moment is different, that moment must be different. I don't hesitate to explain anything or everything. If I know or context build, I say it.
Okay.
Nothing is a secret in art. Artistic journey depend on younger generation artists look at not through only the image, or because we look at the Picasso's image, but sometimes living artists who are the practicing, like let's say if I met Himasa or Manu Parikh, I understand their journey and their experience. They're always inspiring. So those moments, because you wanted to travel to their own time, their experience. That's interesting. That always, it's great to add on, like you're reading a book.
Yeah, you travel that world.
Yeah, world. But that person maybe gathered that information maybe 40 years or 30 years. So that kind of times comes to your mind by reading that book.
Experience.
Experience.
Yeah, interesting. So now for the rapid fire questionnaire. Do you prefer working in silence or with background noise?
Oh, with silence.
With silence. What's a daily ritual in the life of the Jagannath Panda that you can't skip?
Home to studio, studio home.
What are the best hours for creativity? Are you a night owl or an early bird?
Evening.
Okay, evening. What's your favorite material to work with?
The fabric.
Which fabric?
Any fabric that has
What's the most indispensable item in your studio? Something you can't live without?
the brass and colors.
Okay, yeah. Do you prefer working on large-scale pieces or smaller, more intimate works?
Both give a different purpose.
Okay. Sculptures or paintings?
The form and formlessness. They talk about material and some talk about the spirit.
Abstraction or realism?
I think the previous answer was like a substance and the spirit.
Contemporary or classical art?
If I look at classical, going back to the time, and contemporary, always looking forward.
Do you enjoy solo studio time or collaborative projects more?
So, solo studio time I often spend,
Yeah.
but collaborative work often I enjoy looking other rather than myself, others, mine.
How do you interact with other Indian contemporary artists? Is there anybody you're friends with in the contemporary art scene?
There are many friends. I see they are very secretive.
Who's your best art friend?
There are many best art friends, but sometimes I fail to understand them.
Who's your favorite contemporary artist, Indian?
It's depend how I'm looking at it, because
Right.
as I told you, because every artist, they shaped my life. Many artists. Some I told you I have not remembered them. They still exist in my subconsciousness.
Do you have a favorite art movement?
I think that is shaped by Indian art, the progressive artist groups.
Yeah.
So, but they are very European, but influence. But also they have produced a lot of our understanding to move out of traditional definition.
They set that base for
Definition
Indian
of
abstraction.
art production.
Who is your favorite art critic or writer?
One generation, I interact more with Gayatri Sinha.
Yeah, yeah.
And other generation, like Premji, I have interacted more, so I enjoyed talking to them.
What's your favorite movie or film that's inspired one of your works? Or just favorite movie or film in general?
I have seen the Avatar. They inspired me on
I love
Avatar.
Yeah.
Because they're very, very relevant. They're very out of the world, somewhere else. But same time, you feel like it's happening around us. No?
Yeah.
This kind of, this space,
Yeah.
I enjoy. You can see that in my work somewhere. That essence. Okay.
That's right. One artist from history at any point in time that you'd like to have a conversation with.
Francisco Clement.
Nice.
It's fantastic. I wanted to spend some time.
If you could sum up your artistic style in one word, which word would it be?
Intuitive, narrative.
Okay. If you could have one work shown anywhere in the world, which one would it be and where?
The work, I wanted to show it at Tate Modern.
Which work?
The work I have created, it's called Cult of Survival.
Okay.
It's self-eating snake.
Ooh. Ooh, very nice.
And as much as the snake eating is growing, it's became a larger.
Like snake game.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's one way you can see that.
Yeah.
The snake game.
Yeah.
But also it's very mythical. And those artworks made out of storage pipe, plastic pipe.
Nice. What's your favorite international museum? In India, it has to be KNM. Everybody knows that. International.
In MoMA, I think I was in the fantastic space. Guggenheim is one of the space that you feel like the building amazing. This is several museums. The museum itself is an interesting.
MoMA or Guggenheim?
The Guggenheim is in terms of space I really like.
Do you collect art?
Yes.
Who's your favorite artist to collect?
I have collected from my indigenous artists who make it hokra.
Yeah.
So I don't collect like they have a name or they exhibit it.
Okay.
But I have seen, when the young artist called Birendra Yadav. So when he was a student, I liked his artwork, and first time I collected his artwork. Is doing really good. I keep seeing, but enjoying many young artists.
What's one art project you're the most proud of?
The art project I worked with is a collective, the collective drawing project.
Okay.
It's called We Are Here for the Reason. And that artwork I did 2-3 times. And first time I did it, inviting anyone and everyone, from young student to elderly guy or anyone to come and draw along with me.
Nice.
So And after the drawing, because whoever hesitate as a drawing as a meaning, difficult thing, invited to draw. And that is my one of favorite, because that sentence itself, discover about their aspiration and their past job, where they belongs. Self-discovery happened. So we are here for the reason. Everybody talk about their future aspiration and draw. And then finally, they realize, hey, this is not about a drawing. It is the large text appearing from the artwork, the surpriseness.
Nice.
I would love to keep doing that series from different time and with the different people.
And you like this project even more than Crystal City?
Yes, Crystal City gives my personal moment. Okay. It is the project that I work with the people and collaborate with the people and speak to unknown people through that process.
Do you do commissions?
Yes.
What's your dream commission?
At the NMACC, the last work I did with called the Artistry.
Okay, no, what's your dream commission? As in like...
in my future?
Yeah. Like, if somebody had to ask you to make one commission, what would you most want it to be?
So something I want to do, create a large sculpture in a central vista or something, which can be...
And what would the sculpture be?
Is going to talk about maybe our essence of our time. It's reflect our culture and aspiration of future.
Would you use like an animal in that?
They may not be looks at animal. They're very abstract. I don't know. I have to imagine something which may be everyday object, also sense of refuge or sheltered kind of a place.
Okay.
Everybody feel like after seeing that work, everyone can relate to themselves.
That's good. Yeah. What's a recent exhibition you've seen that's left a strong impression on you? What's been your favorite, most recent exhibition you've seen?
Rather than exhibition, I would say the museum at the Bangalore. Which one? It's a museum of photography and art. So I really like that museum. It is very personal, but it has a very interesting object when put together. I love it because there's no division between the past and the future or the contemporary. It's the way the whole space they use.
If you weren't an artist, what profession do you think you would have taken up?
I would love to be a filmmaker.
Okay.
If that's possible, then I would, because a lot can be say, because many things which you're not able to talk about, the film has language.
What's stopping you now? I'd love to see a Jagannath Panda movie. What's the strangest or most unusual work of art you've seen?
It's a strange question, what I have seen. Which one I should remember, because there's so much overloaded, because I try to forget them.
Okay.
And deliberately I want to forget them because I don't want they should not subconsciously influence me.
Okay. What's the craziest thing a client or gallerist has ever asked you to create? Have there been any such instances?
No, but they wanted to ask to make something which already been done.
Oh, like just copy that work.
No, something like that.
Okay. What's the most unusual piece of art you've ever sold?
Yes, the beehive box.
Okay.
Bee box, it looks very strange, but also a artwork, the peeing dog.
Oh my God. A really funny story. We actually have that.
All right.
Yeah, I love that work, yeah. What I found really interesting about the work is like the fabrics, they're so beautiful, but then there's the dog just lifting its leg.
Yeah.
So that further adds to that whole idea of juxtaposition, contrast you see in all of your work.
Right.
Now for the final question, which isn't rapid fire. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Maybe I could more the person
as a filmmaker
who can articulate myself. Still some part of me is not been spoken.
Okay.
I can be 100%, talk about me or experience me and express me as someone. I think I feel I wanted to have my journey through there.
So that concludes our questionnaire. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Ryan. It's lovely meeting you.
And yeah, I've had such a wonderful time. And thank you for watching or listening to Art with Oz. It's been Azan Karan.